my own nervous system what it needs to feel good, when I reframed daily stressors from a nervous system perspective, when I shifted this to my business and my money mindset, I was happier, more productive, more present, all the things that I wanted, but I was trying to get like from the top down, like thinking my way there. When the answer for me, and I think for many people, is really from the bottom up or from your body.
This is Joy Rowland, and you are listening to the Joyful Money Podcast. This is episode number 84, Reset Your Nervous System for Abundance with Jessica Addeo. Welcome to Joyful Money, the podcast where we focus on making money the joyful way. We are done with the stress and anxiety that typically come with making money. We'll feature extraordinary and inspiring business owners who are making a huge impact by sharing their gifts and talents with the world. Pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea and let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 84 of the Joyful Money Podcast. I am very happy and excited, like I always am, but today I'm super excited because I have a special guest, a very special guest. Her name is Jessica Addeo. Jessica is a nervous system coach and occupational therapist. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So why don't you start by introducing yourself to us and what you do?
Sure. So I am a nervous system coach, and for 17 years, I worked as an occupational therapist, mostly or entirely in pediatrics. So helping children learn how to process different sensory information so they could show up at school, at birthday parties, at holiday gatherings, any of it sort of as their best, happiest self. And it sounds silly, but it's the truth. Sometime after the birth of my second child, I had this epiphany where I was like, I think you have a nervous system too, obviously. And I learned that I could really take this skill set that I had been using on other people's children and not only support my own children, but support myself. And when I gave my own nervous system what it needs to feel good, when I reframed daily stressors from a nervous system perspective, when I shifted this to my business and my money mindset, I was happier, more productive, more present, all the things that I wanted, but I was trying to get like from the top down, like thinking my way there. When the answer for me, and I think for many people, is really from the bottom up or from your body out. And so that is now what I teach other people to do. I work with mostly women, but everybody has a nervous system, whether you're a male, a female, a parent, not a parent. And I really just want everyone to know about these tools because it just makes living a fun and easy life easier, right? It just makes it easier to access that kind of living.
I love your niche so much.
Thank you.
Because I have gone through all the motions, right? Coaching and everything until I realized that my body sends signals to my brain, and I cannot discount the signals my body sending to my brain. For example, if I am trying to build a business and I am currently constantly stressed, my body records that as making money is harmful. And so when I come to work on my business, my subconscious mind pulls the brake on, and so I don't make progress. And that's why many people are stuck at the same income level. Like that blew my mind.
Yes, it still blows my mind that when I show up to my business and I'm, like everyone, looking at my income and we have bills to pay and I have goals and all of the things. But when I step into that place of fight or flight, where I'm like, this is dangerous. And if I don't get this done, what's going to happen? It's a big emergency. I don't really make that many sales because even though my voice and my face might be trying to say something different, my brain is showing everyone that I'm talking to my fear and my worry. And so I'm not about ignoring that fear and worry, but sort of looking at it and saying, like, yeah, we have to get you back literally to your center through your body, and then you'll be more available to do the things that you want to do, right? It's not a, I can't mindset my way out of it. I love a good mindset, but you have to take your body along for the ride, is not just my opinion, but I think the science is like, I know the science is very clear on supporting that stance.
Yes, because being in the mindset industry, many people think that, oh, what we preach is fake it until you make it, right? And that goes to affirmations. Like, have you seen all those affirmations people read and then they don't work because like their nervous system is sending a completely different signal to their brain, and you can't fake it till you make it to your brain. Like your brain reads the signal from your body. So if your nervous system is not on board, like you might as well stop trying, right?
It's so much work if you're only using your brain. Your brain's really powerful, right? So I'm not saying like don't think better thoughts. That's great. But if you don't include your
Mm,
body, you're going to think a better thought. And then your body's going to be like, nope. And then you have to think a better thought again. And then it just goes on and on and on. And you can't really get much else done if you're in that perpetual cycle. So to me, it's like, let's just cut out the middleman. Brain, have a
mm,
better thought. I'm told, like, that's wonderful. Body, do you believe it? Why don't you believe it? If you're not, what can I do to like move that fight, flight, or freeze energy out of you so that you can get to the place where that thought actually feels real versus faking it? And sort of, again, like you're in this mind body battle. Your body always wins, like it just does.
yeah. My excitement has made me go ahead of myself, and I apologize, listeners. So let me back up. Okay. So, Jessica, tell us, how did you choose this niche? The reason I ask this question is because I come across a number of women who are trying to set up businesses, and they are stuck in this phase of what do I have to sell? What is my niche? What is my offer? So, like, even just speaking to you, I can see the passion and the excitement on your face. I went to your Instagram, such a beautiful feed you have, right? And I think that's very rare to see someone in a business they love. So tell us, and I'm sure people listening want to know, how did you choose this niche? Because this is perfect for you.
Thank you so much. So I think for a long time, I had an inkling that working the traditional, outside of the home 9 to 5-ish job wasn't my best match. And I did for a while look outside of myself. Like maybe I should take this certification, maybe I should do this thing. And nothing really stuck. And then one day I got mad at my husband, the poor guy. It wasn't his fault. It was one of those things where I could on a rational level sense that being mad didn't make sense, but my body was like, oh no, we're mad. We're doing it, right? Like you could think whatever you want. This is happening. And so in that moment, in the very back of my mind, I don't even know where it came from. I put on some ankle weights. I took my 2 kids for a 10-15 minute walk. Now, this is a really sensory nervous system strategy, right? It's giving my body proprioceptive input. That proprioceptive input releases more serotonin. It also is moving that fight flight energy that had come up and out of me, moving that out of my body. So after that 15-minute walk, I returned back to our home into our backyard. And my thought process was like, it was as if someone had flipped a light switch.
Mm,
And I went, I think you just did OT, occupational therapy, on yourself. And I
mm,
got really curious, like, how much more could I do this? And the answer was, it was so much more. Um, and then also just the awareness of like when I'm having certain thoughts, when I'm having certain feelings, when I'm behaving certain ways, it's really a reflection of my nervous system. So I'm not a crazy anxious person. I'm not a hot mess. I'm not even an angry person. I'm just a human with a nervous system that's responding to different stimuli. And when I can view my different life choices and different life scenarios from that perspective, I'm not like feeling guilty or shooting all over myself anymore, right? It just really, really changed the game. And so in the beginning, I thought, well, I want to teach this to other moms, right? Other moms need to know how to do this. But I felt kind of funky calling myself a parent coach because I don't know, is anyone an expert at parenting? Like I have 3 kids, 7 and under, and I think I do a great job, but I also mess it up all of the time. So I didn't want to be a parenting coach. Um, and I started to shift away from that 9 to 5 job to working for myself. And in that moment,
mm.
that's really when this like took off, when I was realizing, I can do things to support my nervous system in daily life, and that makes daily life easier. I can also shape my life in a way that feels really good to my nervous system. And that's even better. And so that's what I'm really passionate about teaching people, right? I want you to have the tools. I want you to feel good. I want you to understand how your nervous system is sort of operating behind the scenes. And then I want you to shape your life to the best of your ability in a way that like fits in with all of that. You do not have to fight against your brain and your body all day long. Um, it's not even that hard. You just might not have that information yet. And so that's sort of how I landed here. And I would say that now I don't even find my kids that dysregulating, which feels like a huge like accomplishment because young kids are they're loud, they're messy, they're all the things. I work really hard on my nervous system in my business. I work really hard on my nervous system when I think about money and finances because that's a real sort of learned place where there is a lot of fight, flight, freeze, and fear kinds of stuff going on. And that's really what I'm passionate about teaching other people, the science of the nervous system, and then we can apply it in whatever way a person needs.
Wow, that is so profound. You see, for so long, I used to preach to anyone that would listen that making money can be fun, right? But they used to question, how can making money be fun? And I found this out myself, right? Going back to what I said earlier, which is your body has to see making money from your nervous system has to be comfortable making more money. Now, because of our historical programming and conditioning, right? When we think about making money, our body feels, oh, it's going to take more work. So, for example, if my goal is to get to $1 million per year, my body's going to say, oh my gosh, how many clients is that going to be? Oh my gosh, that's going to be a lot of work, right? So my nervous system has to become more comfortable with making money. Like it has to associate making money with fun, right? Which goes to what I said earlier, which is you have to be excited about what you have to offer, right? Because when people come on online to look at you, that excitement is kind of infectious, not just for your nervous system, but for other people as well. So, Jessica, you being the expert on this topic, I want you to break it down, right? So, someone listening, for example, has been doing mindset work and they've been having all this, okay, change your thoughts to get like to change your results, right? Now, based on what we've discussed so far in the past 15 minutes, we now know that getting our nervous system on board is the way to go. So, can you break it down? How do we get our nervous system on board so that making money becomes much more fun?
Yes. So I think it's twofold. And I'm going to start with the body because I think the body, not even I think. Science is very clear. The body holds more power here. Your vagus nerve is one of the longest nerves in your body. It's really central to nervous system regulation. 80% of its fibers are from the body up to the brain. 20% are from the brain down to the body. So for me, starting in the body makes the most sense because why wouldn't I capitalize on 80% first, right? So,
Mm.
and this is where it gets it's unique, right? So when you see nervous system stuff out there in the wild on social media or wherever, I am always hesitant when I see a blanket statement because to me, there are no blanket statements in nervous system regulation, right? Everybody has a unique nervous system. And the best way that you can start to understand yours is by paying attention to your body. And I'm going to give an example of what that might look like. If your first thought is like, I don't even know what's happening in my body, right? That's okay. You probably
Mm.
haven't had a lot of communication with your body in a real way in some time. And that's just because you were never taught to, not because you're bad at it or you're doing something wrong. But that is a big, I don't want to say red flag, but I don't have another word. It's a sign that your nervous system and you are not in communication. So if you think, I don't know what's happening in my body when I get stressed, I literally feel like I come up and out of my body. Let's work on your nervous system together, right? Like let's support you there. If you can pay a little bit of attention to your body's clues, record them, right? Record them in your mind, write them down, whatever feels good for you. You could find me on Instagram and share them with me. Like this is literally my favorite topic in the world. But things like, okay, I get stressed out, and when I get stressed out, I start pacing, right? When I get stressed out, or even if I'm excited, like I am right now, I know you guys can't see me, but my hands are they're flying, right? That
I
shows
can see you on YouTube.
Yes.
Some people can see on YouTube. So.
Right, you'll be able to see, right? This is a little bit of my fight flight response, not because
Mm,
my nervous system's excited, right? But I know all of these signals so well, that I know if I'm in an argument with my husband and I do this, like chop my hands along my palms, I'm getting dysregulated in a way that's not supportive to my communication. So you just start this conversation between the stimulus that happens in your world and what your body does. And that's going to give you information about where you are in your nervous system. The word dysregulation is out there, and dysregulation sort of means when you step out of the most regulated version of you, right? This fight, flight, freeze response. And I'm choosing my words carefully here because dysregulation is not bad. I just said, if you could see me now, I'm moving my hands because I'm in a little bit of fight, flight. I'm not upset right now. I'm super excited to be here. And that is me stepping a little bit out of that neutral zone as I should. And then I recognize this in my body. So in between now and my next activity, I will do a couple of things that are very unique to my nervous system that will pull me back down into regulation. And that's really how a healthy nervous system works. But step one is just like what happens in my body as I go throughout my day. And it could be anything from I forget to eat lunch, or I my jaw is really tense or tight. I get really hot when I'm overwhelmed. There's no observation that's too small or too silly. And in the paying attention, your nervous system will start to unravel a little bit already just because it's like, oh
mm,
my God, they're finally listening, versus years of sending you signals and maybe you didn't pay attention at all. Um, Step two, and I do want to address sort of the mind down because
mm,
particularly when we talk about money and business and productivity, there are a lot of learned behaviors or things that we were told um, that run the show a little bit, right? So I am someone who would say I always work hard, and you have to work hard, to be successful, and you have to work hard to be worthy, right? Like working hard is was a big part of my identity. Well, if I'm always
mm,
working hard, my nervous system is always in fight flight. It's really hard for me to relax if I think that working hard is essential to success. So, this is how you can start to connect the thoughts you have in your mind and how they land in your body, and then how that's showing up for you in daily life. Um, Another one that comes up for me in this sort of business money domain, my dad used to always say, and this is no shade to him, right? This is his nervous system, and um, he was only trying to be helpful, but he would say, when you have time, you don't have money. And when you have money, you don't have time. So, how do you think? Even just saying that now, I felt my stomach like, zzz, right?
mm.
How do you think that shows up for me as I approach business and money, right? It definitely comes up, but it's more than just, well, I don't believe that. Time and money are equal. I could say that to myself all day long, but if I'm not paying attention to the response my nervous system is having, and then helping that response move through and out of my body, I'm just telling myself lies. It's not landing. That was a long-winded answer, and it's long-winded because this is it's not complicated, but it's so unique and tailored and
Mm.
customized. But I hope that gives the listeners like a little window into what this can sound and look like.
Yes, long-winded is the way we go here, right? We don't just give a short answer because
But
that's how we learn. So yes, that answer was just what we needed to hear. Now, as you were speaking there, um, the example you gave about your dad, another one that came up for me, was, and it has come up for a number of my clients as well, is this: you can't be a good wife or a good mother if you have a successful career or business, right? You know how many people still hold that belief?
yes.
And that holds us back because in our subconscious mind, it's like a dichotomy. How can you be wanting to build $1 million business, for example, and still want to be a good mother or a good wife, right? And so that's like the confusion going on in our mind. So like I like that example you gave.
And
So
then it
then
starts to, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It
go
starts to
ahead.
then feel not safe in your body, right? So you're
Mhm.
working to grow your business or grow your career, right? Maybe you are working for somebody else, but it's really important to you. And in your mind, I value this. This is important to me. I want this. But the other part of your mind and your subconscious mind gets very programmed between the ages of 0 to 7. your parents did the best they could. I'm sure that I am programming some things into my kids that they will work to undo, right? This is not about like blaming them. But it is programmed into your mind. It's literally like the autopilot in your brain. So you're working on one track and your brain is like, that's not safe. And your body's like, that's not safe. And so everything feels incredibly hard and scary. And you move to this place of chronic fight flight. And chronic fight flight is really hard on your physical health because it
Mm.
changes your digestion, it changes your circulatory system, your respiratory system, your nervous system doesn't exist in isolation. It's a part of your entire body. So to me, it's the awareness and then working to move this through because if you truly want wellness and health, um, you have to include your nervous system. You can eat salad all day, every day, but if you're in chronic fight flight, your body's not doing anything with it, kind of thing.
Oh gosh, I love that so much. Yeah, like eating salads all day is not the only thing, right? We have to take care of our mental health, and this is one of the ways we can take care of ourselves. So, like, Jessica, can you break it down for us? So then, what's the relationship between our nervous system and our subconscious mind? I know you talked very briefly there about our subconscious mind being programmed by the age of 7. And I have read this myself based off of the work. So I'm glad you're saying that as well. So can you tell us the relationship between our nervous system and our subconscious mind?
Yes, I actually just finished a certification program in NLP and hypnosis and EFT, a lot about the subconscious mind because it was a big part of my professional journey. And to me,
Mm,
it's about autopilot, right? So let's go with the if you don't, when you have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of money, and then vice versa, a lot of money, not a lot of time. So that's literally what my brain will autopilot to. So I am over here saying, I want more clients, right? I'd love more clients. I'd love to work with more people. And my brain is like, you don't have time for that. But I'm out here promoting it and doing the best I can. And there's this internal struggle where
mm,
I'm saying I want one thing, but my brain's like, that's not safe. And that not safe is registering in my body as maybe I have more tension in my jaw. Maybe I can't go to the bathroom every day because my digestive system is shut down. Maybe I am
mm,
more easily dysregulated, meaning like I snap at loved ones or I get hot and sweaty or I can't focus. It manifests in all different ways. And it's really good to move that out of your body, right? That is always where I start. But when I get to the place with myself or with a client where I'm like, we're moving it. It's coming
mm,
out. Why are we still circling back? That's when I want to take a peek into what's happening in the subconscious mind. Can we change that autopilot so that when my brain thinks about time, instead of like, when you get in an airplane and it's like you're leaving here and there's a circle and you're going here, right? I don't
yeah.
want my brain jumping into that autopilot. I'd like to change the route to the place where my brain tells my body time and money can exist together safely. Great. Once I do
Mm.
that, then my nervous system doesn't have to work so hard to continually process that autopilot. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely does. So then like, what's the process? Like, how do you help clients to regulate their nervous system so that they can be more comfortable making more money?
Yes. So first we start with what I do a sensory profile because I'm an occupational therapist. And so that is really my area of specialty. And we figure out what type of sensory input works for your body, what's too much, what's not enough. And we have the five senses that we all sort of know: sight, taste, touch, sound, and smell. But you have several other senses: proprioception, vestibular, and interoception, that are sort of like what's happening from the inside out. And so we want to
Mm,
get really clear on what does your body need and what's too much for your body. How can we give your body what it needs and how can we set up daily life to sort of respect your thresholds? And then what's your recovery plan for when you step outside of those thresholds? Because, life is life and that will happen. And I do that first because one, I care about your body, and two, I want you feeling good, right? So if we can
mm,
get this sensory base solid, you're going to feel better. You're going to think more clearly. All of those things are just going to be easier. Then from there, I move into teaching clients how to recognize their different nervous system states, right? What does your fight state sound like? What does your flight sound like? What does your freeze sound like? So you can recognize when you're stepping outside of your regulated zone. And now you already know what to do because we've already done the sensory body piece. And then we get into this place a lot of times, and it is very customized, but I find the next place is people are like, I see it. I'm observing it. I see it. I know it feels good, but I don't like, what do I do? Right. And that's when we look at the stickiest times of your day. Is it dinner time? Is it when you get on a sales call? Is it when you look at your bills? Right. And we take everything that we've learned and implement. And I'm really big on being very present for the implementation because I think that's what distinguishes this from other types of support, right? You, it's great to know it all, but if you can't apply it in the moment, who cares? So it's really, and that is where some of the subconscious reprogramming will show up as well. When it's like we've
Mm.
got the foundation going on, right? But something is still not landing for us. Why? Let's like dig a little bit deeper and see what we can do to sort of really move this for you. So like it's gone, it's done kind of thing. And then from there, you're still going to experience dysregulation because a healthy nervous system is one that moves through all those states really easily. But now you feel supported. Now you feel seen. And now your window of tolerance is actually wider. So you're not going to get dysregulated as easily. And then you know what to do when it does happen.
Oh, wow. I love that so much. That's so detailed. Now, before you tell us about how you can help us further, I wanted to ask you this, Jessica. Um, so as all moms, like all moms, right, we have to deal with our businesses, being a mom. You mentioned you have three children. So tell us, what are your daily practices that helps you stay grounded and not just stay grounded, but prioritize your mental health so that you are fully available for yourself first and for your family, for your businesses. Tell us, how do you keep it all together?
Yes. So I think it's important to mention that I live by the sort of philosophy that the most dysregulated person wins. And what I mean by that is the person whose nervous system is having the hardest time is the nervous system I pay the most attention to within my family. And I am included in that equation. So if my kids are all tantruming and my husband's really stressed out, but I am too dysregulated to like show up with kindness and patience, I'm going to go take care of my nervous system first because via mirror neurons, we're all going to line up to each other's nervous systems, right? So I think it's really important to know my signs of dysregulation and take them seriously. And sometimes, like, let's say I'm cooking dinner and the kids are freaking out in the background and my husband's trying to tell me a story. I can't necessarily just be like, I'm out of here. I got to go get regulated, right? I have to keep on going. But in that moment, it's a real level of self talk of sort of like, oh, you're dysregulated. I see that. Here's what we're going to do about it later. And does that magically erase everything? No. But it shows my nervous system that I'm listening, that I'm paying attention. It doesn't need to keep sending up the smoke signal because I got the message. Tangible things that I do. So, proprioception is input into your joints and muscles, and it will help your body produce serotonin. It is by far my favorite type of sensory input. And so, I may do things like going for a walk. I may do things like jumping on a mini trampoline. I love to exercise. I don't always get to it as often as I would like to because of those three little kids. But even something like drinking a thicker drink, like a smoothie, or if you're a milkshake girl, it can be a milkshake through a straw, right? That drinking through a straw gives me proprioceptive input into the joints and muscles of my face, a little microdose of serotonin. And vestibular input is input into you have organs in your inner ear. They let you know where your body is in space. Um, it's a more sensitive sensory system, but it also connects to so many parts of your brain. So when you can find the just right amount for you and your system, it's going to have a pretty like wide spanning effect. So before dinner time, I often sit in a rocking chair. I'm talking 3 minutes. And I have to tell you that every time I do it, I'm like, this isn't going to work. This is complete BS. Even though I know the science and I know it works and I teach it to people, but that's your dysregulated brain being like, So I rock for about 3 minutes and it works every single time. When I'm cooking dinner and the kids are popping off and my husband's talking to me and all of it is still happening, I just have this like felt sense of control in a way of like, I see all of this chaos, but I'm okay and safety. And so those are my top two. Like I never miss those. I always prioritize proprioceptive and vestibular input. And then from there, there's a million other like little things that I throw in the mix as well.
Oh, wow. I love that so much. And listeners like you have to find what works for you, right? So for me, I go on a walk every day for 2 hours. It helps me so well. I like to lie down in the dark. I go upstairs, leave my office, and just lie down for 15 minutes. It helps me. Another thing, surprisingly, that helps me is this painting. This is like my daughter's coloring book. And I just open a page and I just do like this,
Yes.
right? It regulates my nervous system and just makes me so happy. So
Yes.
if coloring is your thing, go for it, girl,
Yes.
right? So find what works for you, people, and prioritize yourself.
And I
So,
will say
Jessica,
that when
yeah,
I interrupted you again. I'm sorry. I get
that's
so
okay.
excited. When we know what works for you, what we can also then do is like pull out little micro bits of why it works for your nervous system and other ways we can plant that in your life amongst all the things you're doing, right? So your nervous system's so smart. It's actually always trying to support you. And so the more we pay attention, the more clues we get, and then the more we can implement.
Yes, I like that so much because many times we think our nervous system is against us. No, it's way of keeping us safe.
Yes,
Right.
it's always working for you. You just have to like step into a relationship with it, and then it's pretty magical how it can unfold from there.
Wow. Ow. Thank you so much, Jessica. So someone's listening to us right now. They want to take this to the next level with you, Jessica. Tell us, where can people find you and tell us about your offers?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's my name, jessicaraddeo.com, and I will send that over to you for the show notes. I think Instagram is the best place to sort of watch what I do. And if you want to sort of feel my vibe a little bit more, my Instagram account definitely showcases that. And it's also just my name. I'm super creative like that. And then my offers, I have two main offers. If you really want to apply this for yourself personally, I have a coaching program called Nervous System Mastery, where we look at your nervous system. If you have children, the nervous systems of your children. If you have a partner, his or her nervous system, and really do this entire process for you and your family. We look at morning routine, bedtime routine, sleep, the hardest parts of your day, transitioning from work to home, back to work if you're a working parent. It's really about taking this science, showing it
Mm.
how it's happening in your life, and then how you can apply it. Everything we've been talking about. Um, that program has been life changing for so many of my clients, and it's literally how I live my everyday. When people say, I don't know how you have three kids, and my daughter's turning one, my youngest, in a couple of weeks. Like, how do you do this? And I'm always like, this is the only way that I'm able to do it. So, if any of that speaks to you, you can just reach out to me and I'm happy to talk and see if it's a good fit, and see if it feels aligned. And then what happened as well is about half of my clients ended up being mental health therapists or other coaches. And I was like, that's a really interesting thing, right? And so I created a training program where I teach people who are really want this science background, right? How to understand their own nervous system first, because I really believe you have to apply it on you. And then how do you take that understanding and how do you support your clients better? If you have clients who you're like, gosh, they have all the tools, I've given them all the things, but they're still like stuck. This is one way that you can support them. And for you as a mental health professional or a coach or even Pilates instructors, nurse practitioners, it's heavy to support people all day long. And you need a way to like sort of move some of that out of your body. So that training program runs a couple of times a year. It is starting in September again. And really, if you just reach out to me, we'll talk through your goals and I will guide you in the right direction of what I think is most supportive and aligned for you, for yours, and for your nervous system.
Oh, wow. I love that so much because, like, you touched on a point there because many of us coaches, right? We teach our clients and we show them the tools, and many times they struggle to get the transformation, right? And I think what you just said will be a very good add-on to help our clients kind of understand their own nervous system and see how that may be holding them back from getting the results they want. But it's like almost like a perfect measure between our offer and then this additional nervous system training. I think that is genius. So good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. So, Jessica, before I let you go, any last words?
I'm so happy to have been here. And I think my last words, what I want them to be is sort of like what you said before. Your nervous system is not against you. Your nervous system
Mm.
exists to keep you safe and alive. And it's always working really hard to do that. We're just going to build in a new relationship with it for you. And it's really magical. Like it truly has changed my life. It's changed so many of my clients' lives. And it can totally do that for you as well. It's already doing that for you on the back end. We're just gonna like include you in the process now.
I love that so much. Thank you so much, Jessica. Like, even if it's just to get the glow you have on your face, I think people should sign up for your program because you look so beautiful. You look relaxed, and like, I can't believe you have a baby that's turning one. Like,
Yes.
when my daughter was turning one, I was almost checking myself into a mental institution.
It is not for the faint of heart, and I'm grateful to my nervous system tools literally every single day.
Oh gosh, it's such a joy to have had you. Listeners, I'll try my best to bring her back, I promise. All of the links will be in the show notes, and if you're watching on YouTube, they will be in the description. Thank you so much, Jessica. Hey, very quickly before you go, if this podcast inspired or encouraged you in any way, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and share this with a friend. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate your kindness and generosity in doing this. We'll see you back here on the next episode. Bye bye.